I want to be untethered from like my work and my output and my productivity is my value. And also, what if I just value that?
Good communication is doesn't just mean talking nonstop,
Something bothered me that this friend said.
but it just makes me feel like, oh, you think I'm definitely dumb.
Mm. Welcome back. This is Not For Everyone, a podcast hosted by a hater. That's my baby Caroline, and a
Ooh,
lover. That's me. I'm a baby too. I'm Jess. We're babies. We're babies today. I'm a baby today. I'm ready to
yeah.
talk baby style.
Okay, baby style time.
Tell
Let's
me
get
what's going
baby
on.
style.
Let's get baby style.
Okay, you know something I was wondering? I've been wondering for weeks, but I finally wrote it down to ask you because I feel like you know,
Oh my
is
gosh. Okay.
have you seen, I know you have, a bunch of like Instagram ads or YouTube ads or even regular television ads now that use AI for voiceover and it's like it intentionally sounds AI. It's like the AI voice, like the automatic caption AI voice
Oh,
that
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
think is
Like
used like on
Siri sounding.
TikTok.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's so weird to me because every time I hear it, I'm like they clearly want it to sound like the TikTok
Yes.
like text to voice AI voice. It's intentional in sounding AI, and I don't understand like is that effective? Because it just I guess I thought the whole point of AI was like, oh, you can make it sound like a person, but this is like trying to make it sound like Siri or Alexa or
Yeah, like robotic. Yeah.
robotic.
I, this is, I love you. This is why I love you because you're a person that thinks about these things too. Because I don't know. I think we all think about it because we're all scrolling, but I don't know if anybody spends as much time as I do thinking about this. So you came to the right place.
Thank you. I knew you would know.
I think I have overanalyzed this, and I think that when those work, it works because the text that the bot is reading is like maybe a little sassy or self-deprecating. Like it's
Mm.
funny for a robot to roast you a little bit. Or some people think it's funny. For this brand of content,
Oh, okay.
it can be funny. So I think it's become more broad than that, but at least when I've seen this work well is when the bot is saying something that's like I wish I could think of an example, but like something funny or roasty that usually maybe slang, maybe they're using slang and it's like kind of entertaining
Yeah.
that they're making a robot say this thing that they typed that's like self-deprecating Gen Z talk
Yeah.
or millennial talk or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I
Like
think.
they'll be like, "Stop cleaning your cabinets like this. That's so chuggy." I can't even
Yes.
do the voice.
Yes,
I can't even do the
Choogie.
voice.
That was a
Chuggy.
perfect selection.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's so weird. It always just takes me out of the ad. And I'm like, I think because when I hear someone using AI for voiceover, I just assume they didn't have enough money to get an actual voiceover artist
Sure.
and or actor. And I mean, it's big companies doing it. It's giant companies who I've seen doing it on professional commercials. And so obviously they have the money. I mean, you save a little bit from not paying a voiceover actor, but it's not money that matters to them. So I
Yeah.
guess I have to assume they've done the research that this is effective. But then the whole time during the ad, all I can think is, why are they doing this TikTok voice?
Mm-hmm. But then the other thing that I think might be the tactic, like the marketing
Mm-hmm.
tactic,
Yeah.
is that they could potentially catch somebody's eye faster, easier, keep somebody for longer because the viewer may not realize until the reel is further along
Wow,
that
that
it's a
is what it
company's
is.
advertisement.
That
Yeah.
is what it
So
is.
it's like, oh, like I'm just scrolling, regular influencer or regular person, reels, reels, reels for an ad. if it was like a highly produced ad with a professional voice actor, you would notice that in your scroll and you
It
would just
would
scroll
take you
right
out of
past
it.
it.
Wow, I think you
Yeah.
nailed it. I think that is what it is.
Yeah. I think so too.
Wow. I hate it though. I hate
It
it.
is really annoying because it'll be like, there's only one like body snatching. I feel like I get a lot of ads for like Spanx adjacent or
Yeah.
Skims adjacent,
I
like,
feel so snatched right now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like there's only one that works for me. And it's like this weird Siri bot, but then it's a person trying on the smoothing shorts or whatever. Yeah, I don't
Wow.
know.
I think
Interesting.
it makes me angry. I guess if they're doing it, it's probably effective for them, but it just makes me feel like, "Oh, you think I'm definitely dumb."
Mm, hmm.
Which I guess they do anyway, but
They do. And
yeah.
like, you know, they're marketing to a broad audience. So like even if they get the dumb ones, as long as the dumb ones still have money to pay them, they don't care if they were dumb or not, you
Yeah.
know?
True. Maybe I am one
I
of the
fall
dumb
for a
ones. I actually
lot of
probably am.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
fall for a lot of Instagram advertising. I've gotten better about it because I've ordered enough stuff from like weird brands I've never heard of that just got fed to me and realized that it's all junk, that I
Yeah.
don't order it
Yeah.
anymore, but I had to do that like many, many times before learning that lesson.
Yeah. Totally. And then when you get something, whether it's off an Instagram ad or like anywhere, when you get something that's actually quality, you're like,
Yeah. Which
whoa,
like shouldn't be it when
whoa.
you paid $50 and then another like 20 for shipping because it's international and like you just go down this rabbit hole
Uh,
and you can't stop at
I
some point.
know. You
Yeah.
know the thing that gets me a lot of the time, and this is like a very known marketing tactic as well, is when it's more expensive. I'm like, oh, well, this one must be good. This
Yes.
one must be good.
It
You
works
there's
on
like
me.
perceived value,
Hmm.
and then it's still trash.
Yep. Yep.
Ah, at least I burned a lot of money for this trash.
Yeah. I've had that realization recently because we were getting all new like bedding, like more like duvet covers and stuff. We wanted to change the color in our room and whatever. And I was looking for so long at every, like, doing so much research over and over again of every brand that makes like linen duvet covers. And it's bizarre that the same thing, it's the same size, it's the same type of fabric. Like I went down to the materials and description and read like the percent linen and the percent cotton and whatever else. They're all the same thing. Honestly, they all even have the same colors available. Like they're definitely just these companies just get it all from the same manufacturer. And the price range is so different depending on
Mm-hmm.
the brand that you choose.
Yeah.
And still, it was very enticing to me to be like, well, I want to splurge for the more expensive brand. Like everybody says they love this brand and everybody says, and it's more expensive, so it must something about it must be better, but
Must be better.
every like stat that I could read and every spec that I could read showed
Uh,
me nothing as to why it was better. I went for like a middle of the road selection and I
love.
feel good about it. I think it's the same. I think it's the
Great.
same. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the time it is. One thing that, first of all, yes. First of all, freaking yes. A lot of the time it is. One thing that Justin taught me, which is helpful really to no one, is that you can have like, say there's two companies that say the clothing item is 100% wool. Great. 100% cashmere. Great. And that's all they really have to list in the description. But you can have different length of the fibers and
Mm,
one shorter length fiber of wool will be itchier and it'll fray more and it'll pill more than a longer length fiber of wool, but no one is required to list the lengths of their fibers.
interesting.
So then sometimes there is a difference in the feel, the quality, the durability, but you just have no way of knowing. You can't know.
Is
Great.
this like thread count for sheets? Like I always
It's
wonder about
different.
thread count.
It's literally fiber length.
Length. Like I have a
Length.
cloth and
Yeah.
it's almost like for a rug they would call it the pile. Is that what we're talking about?
No, it's like I think my understanding, we really got to get Justin in on this, but is like the fibers, as I understand, I don't know, that are woven together to make a single thread. So there's the thread
Oh,
count, but one of those threads, I believe, has like
got it.
can be made of shorter or longer fibers. So shorter fibers will fray more and they like split out more, almost like split ends sort of. And they itch more and they fray more
Okay.
and a longer fiber is more expensive and I don't know. I hate that I'm even talking about this because I don't have an answer to it. And it's just like they can both be genuinely 100% wool, but then there's, there's like the way there's like uh variety in leather quality. You can have different
Yeah.
quality of leather, you can have different quality of wool, you can have different quality fibers of cotton. It just makes me want to be like, okay, I guess I'm going back to Forever 21 after
I
all.
was
Like I don't know
just
what
thinking
to
that. I
do.
was just thinking that. I give up. It's all
I give
over.
up.
I
I
don't
surrender.
want
You got me.
I don't
You
want any
got
part
me.
of this. Yeah, this is like molecular level fabrics and clothing
Yeah.
selections that I
Like
don't
the
have the capacity for.
no, literally I found this YouTube channel where it's like a fabric, I was going to say mixologist. He might as well be a
Yeah.
a fabric scientist. And he goes to like design houses that have in-house manufacturing, which is also rare, and has to like interview them about their fibers and stuff. And like that's the only way you can get access to the information because otherwise it's not available. And I'm like, you know what?
Crazy.
I'm delighted for you that this is the work you're doing, and also I can't I can't be learning about this.
No.
I
No.
can't be learning about
It's
this
good
right
to
now.
know that this information is somewhere if I chose to access it,
Like three people have it.
but
Yeah.
I won't choose to access it,
I will
actually. I'll
not
just
make this
leave it in
choice.
that place that it's living in without me.
I'm
I don't
really
have it.
I'm really impressed that you solved this mystery though. I bet you are correct about the AI
Thank
voices
you.
and why it's
It's because
effective. I
I've
think
thought
you're
a lot
correct.
about it. Though like
That makes sense.
I've come to my conclusions and I've thought a lot about it and yeah, and I'm a scientist and I think that's really the gist of it.
I
This
know.
conversation does make me think though about what you texted me.
Oh, what did I
Because we're talking
text
about
you?
like, you know, spending a lot of time scrolling, spending a lot of time buying shit on Instagram,
Yeah.
spending time or not spending time um
Watching YouTube
researching
channels
fabrics.
that I don't like. Yeah.
Right. And it actually is a great segue into what you texted me. So, in last week's episode, we launched our dating series, and I've been so excited to see how much everyone's loving it.
Yeah, people
Um,
that the hoes be loving it.
the hoes, and I'm one of them. I be loving it, and I'm not even dating, and I'm listening. I be listening, and I said something that I thought was really like dumb in that episode that you texted me later and said was not dumb, and you didn't
No,
know I had any feelings about it.
I
But
didn't.
I did, and it was just some passing comment about how I'm very particular about where I spend my energy, which isn't dumb in and of itself, but I feel like the way it came up in the episode, I wasn't like prepared to really delve into what that meant.
No, it was great. I loved it. I thought it was I know that it's a big value and point of focus to you, and I feel
Yeah.
like I was just like I think we could do a whole episode on like deciding where to put your energy, where to retract your energy, or even just this casual ass conversation about it. I thought it was a great thing to bring up.
Yeah, I do think it's worth talking about more because I think about it every day. Like, I think it is a
Totally.
governing principle that lives in my head at all times that like whether I'm cognitively aware of it or all the time, I don't know, but like it's definitely in the decision tree for me
Yeah.
of what I do and don't do every single day, like the choices I make in my life on how I spend my time. In that decision tree is this layer of like energy preservation. How do I decide whether it's worth my energy or not? And I have a lot
Yeah.
I could say about it. I don't know. Should I just start?
Yeah, just go. I want to hear like what are the places like right now? You don't have to explain all of your thoughts around energy. This is also
I I'm gonna
This is
talk
the
about
most woo
energy.
woo. We can do it.
Yeah.
I was thinking the other day, this is like the most woo woo thing about me is that I will say a lot like I'm just like following my energy here or listen to your
Mm,
energy there. And I think there's a lot of other woo woo things that I don't like. I don't really relate to them. They don't do a lot for me, but this does. And I don't know if it's actually different from anything else, but I was thinking that the other day and I want to hear where are areas like just recently that you're like, I'm right now, I see myself pulling energy away from this place or
mm.
towards this place, or like what's top of mind for you?
Yeah, interesting. I've been on the verge of burnout, I would say,
Sounds like, yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
Um, and I've been there before and I'll be here again. So like I recognize it and I know what it feels like to me. I've just been busy in a lot of different areas. And so I'm having to be thoughtful about like I need to pull back somewhere and where's that going to be? And I think one area that comes to mind is like I don't know. I I don't want to say my relationships because that's not true. My relationships
Say
are
it.
very important to me.
Say it. I'll say it.
And yet at the same time, I think the amount of energy that I give to many, many relationships is untenable. Like it's not sustainable for a person to give this amount
Mm-hmm.
to this many relationships when there's so many other facets of life that like just have to happen. And I think that that's where I'm trying to hone in right now. Like I I have a friend who's like not my closest best friend, but not somebody who I like never talk to either. Just somebody in between who I like and care about and um but we're not like besties. And something bothered me that this friend said in a recent conversation with them. And I didn't even really realize that it bothered me until like a couple weeks later. Like something wasn't sitting right. And then I thought about it for longer. And then I kind of got to the bottom of like what it was and why it bothered me. And then okay, so like once I'm there, we're 2 weeks out from when it actually happened. This friend has no idea. I'm sure they didn't mean anything by it. It just sat wrong with me and whatever. And then I was like at a crossroads where I was like, do I talk to them about this? Like, how important is it to me to have that conversation and clear this up versus just knowing that I have clarity and kind of deciding that like this moment and this friend and whatever isn't really worth that energy right now. Like, I don't think I have the energy to talk to them about this. I don't think I have the energy to hear them out about this. I don't think I have the energy to potentially be wrong about this. And like, that might make me, that might say some negative stuff about me, but it is the truth
I
of
don't
where
think it
I'm at.
does. I don't think it does. I think you're not like taking action on it without talking to them. You're just, no, I don't think it
I'm
says
just letting
anything.
it pass.
I think just so you know, I think everything you're saying is so relatable. Go on.
Thank you. It was like kind of a profound thing to realize because I was processing it with Ryan and being like, why is this bothering me so much? And we got to it and he was like, do you think you'll talk to them about it? And I was like, nah, dog. Like, I'm tired. That would take something from me. This isn't a friendship where feel the need to like work through everything that ever comes up. I don't feel the need for that in any of my friendships, but especially like kind of where this friend is to me and what we are to each other, like it just doesn't feel necessary or worthwhile. And like I kind of got to the bottom of it and I can just sit with that. And next time I see them, like hopefully it won't be awkward. If it is a little awkward, like that'll pass too. And like whatever, it's just not a big deal. And I think that is like a microcosm of how I feel about energy overall. It's like, it's not even saying I'm going to give all my energy to my relationships and not as much to work. Or I'm going to give all my energy to work and not as much to my relationships. Or, and I know there's like a million other categories of life that we could be talking about. I feel like for me, it's like getting really nitty gritty. And for every level of like thing that's going on and person that you have in your life and situation that comes up, deciding like how much does this matter for me to like keep going down that path versus how much can I just like let it go. It's about letting things go, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think in like an alternate universe would have been the thing that compelled you to talk to them about the thing?
If it was a pattern and if they were a friend who I felt more of the need to be like in lockstep with,
Yeah, yeah.
like if we were a lot closer and it felt like, oh, we're really like something's repeatedly going on where I feel misunderstood or disrespected or just like diminished. Yeah, and it's like happened a couple times now and you're a person in my life who like I can't bear to feel that way with. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
that's where I would talk to the person about it and pursue that. And there's
Mm-hmm.
plenty of people in my life who fit that description. Um, but I don't know, you just got to do a trade-off of like how important is this? How important is it that this person knows?
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know, people write in a lot about like kind of friend breakups and like should I talk to them about it? Should we have like a
Yeah.
discussion about like our friendship is ending?
Right.
Or should I just kind of let it fade out or something in between? I find myself to be more, it's not that I'll avoid a conversation. Like if a conversation needs to happen, I'll have it. Or if the other person wants to, I will. But it's almost like if you already know what you feel about it, then like how much do you really need to check in with the other person? I don't know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I feel like what you said, you were like, I didn't feel like I wanted to talk to them about it, but I already had clarity about how I felt or what it meant to me. And I do feel like that's actually like you already got to the end goal,
Yeah.
basically. I feel like it's a combination of, what it does for you to understand you and relate to yourself, plus how much intimacy are you looking for with that person?
Yeah.
Because let me think. It comes up a lot. I feel like the times it comes up in a really tricky way is sometimes when people are looking for closure. Maybe they've gone through a breakup of like a romantic relationship. You broke up with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever, and then or they broke up with you, and a lot of time that person, they write into us all the time. They are desperate to have this conversation of closure, but like he won't talk to me, and I just
Mm,
want to have this conversation with him, and I just want him to understand what I was trying to do and what I really feel, and like I feel like he didn't even get me. And it is this really heartbreaking, like horrible position to be in where you are seeking to be understood because it was a dynamic, someone you were dating. It was a relationship where you expect ultimate intimacy. However, as soon as you're broken up, no, you are not owed. Nobody is owed all
yeah.
that intimacy, but you still want it, of course, and you still feel it. And then there's this overwhelming feeling of like, but I still really want that intimacy. I still really want them to do the work, to meet me, to understand me, to see me. But you're broken up now, and nobody owes that to each other really anymore if they're not interested in it.
Hmm.
And so that's one moment where I feel like it feels important to be understood and to be seen and to be in lockstep, but it's no longer the entire premise of the agreement, which is that we're not together anymore. And that's what feels so heartbreaking. It's like people can't they are not owed you that. They can't go to jail for denying you that.
Hmm.
And then but it's a miserable feeling. And then the other situation, I feel like, yeah, like maybe with a friend breakup or something where maybe you don't want to see them anymore, or even a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Maybe you're like, I don't need them to understand me. Actually, I've given up on them. I've relinquished it myself from them, but you might still want that conversation because you need to get something off your chest or you need to advocate for
Yeah.
yourself one time. I never advocated for myself. I never stood up for myself. I never really expressed what I was going through and what I experienced here, and it would feel really important for me to do that one time. And I think that's also really healthy. And the whole thing there is like it's not really about changing them. It's not really about getting somebody else to see you differently or see you a different way, the transformative process there, I think, is just I get to relate to myself differently because I stood up for myself. I spoke up
Yeah.
for myself one time. And so if you're in this position that you described, it sounds to me where like you don't have this super deep intimacy expectation, and you also have already advocated for yourself, you understand yourself, you have validated your own feelings, you have clarity on how you feel, then why
Hmm.
would you do the conversation right now if there's not an ask for it or a need for it? That actually makes sense to me. It does make sense to me.
Yeah.
I think it's a probably a good place to be. It sounds like I like
I,
it.
I feel like it's a good place to be. I mean, it's funny because I feel like sometimes, we've basically built a podcast on the premise of uh direct communication. There's a lot of premises that we've thrown around, but I feel like one that's come up a lot is direct communication. And I very much value that. And I think there's very much a place for that. But I also equally think that there's very much a place for letting things go, picking your battles,
Oh
pr-
yeah.
like keeping to yourself a little more. We posted like maybe a month or two ago, I did some sort of Instagram reel about protecting your peace and like that concept being a tricky one where like on one hand I agree and on the other hand um you have to like interact and engage with people in the world around you, and there's like this balance that we're all walking all the time of how much do I like say the thing, do the thing, interact, be proactive, and how much do I like sit back and just let things wash away. And somebody commented on it a bit sassy. I'm not trying to call them out. It's like interesting to think about. Somebody commented and said like you girls are always about direct communication and now you're kind of saying the opposite or something. And to that I'm just like why does it have to be one? I think there's so many
Yeah.
situations where direct communication is very valuable, and there's so many situations where why? What you're wasting your energy. Like it is about
Yeah.
ultimately the decision point comes down to energy. And is it going to be worthwhile to put my energy towards a direct conversation? Or is it going to be better for me to put my energy towards repairing within myself, resting, recuperating, processing, letting time pass, seeing if the other person does something. Like there's two people in the mix, So there's
Yeah.
so many more options than just like I have to go talk to them right now about this thing.
Totally. I just disagree that choosing not to verbalize something in every moment is at odds with direct communication. Like
Mm-hmm.
good communication is doesn't just mean talking nonstop. It good communication as I'm trying to understand it, I'm not a fucking scientist on this, but as I understand it,
Other
is
things,
a
yes.
is a lot to do with timing and patience and getting away from urgency. I feel like
Yeah.
urgency we've talked about a lot is like urgency basically ruins good communication. And communication is also like, when are you quiet and when are you with yourself? And also, what are you looking for from this conversation? Like, if you're already at peace with yourself and you're not asking something more of this friend, you're not expecting her to show up to your next hangout and behave differently or deliver in some different way. You don't have like
Yeah.
an unnamed expectation for her now. If you have a silent, unspoken expectation, then yeah, you need some direct communication. But if your decision is just like, oh, I'm I'm not expecting anything right now. I'm not interested in putting my time or mental energy there right now. Then talking to them would be what? Just to shame them, just to scold them, just
Exactly.
like what would the point be? I mean, obviously there's nuance. Maybe it's hard to talk about with I feel like I always hear listeners in their head being like, "What about this? What about that?" And like
Yeah.
we can't be talking about all moments at once, but I just don't think that those things are in um conflict with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like it's been one of the things I'm proudest of recently and has brought so much peace into my life is learning to sit on things
Yeah.
because then you have more time to think about it. If it's something that really needs to be talked about, like the next opportunity will come up. It's not going to
Hmm.
go away. So you'll have time and maybe you'll be less emotional. I'll be less emotional. I'm very emotional. Or I'll have my thoughts together more. They'll have congealed more. Like, I don't know. There's something that really upset me involving YouTube this week, and right now I'm in the midst of recording or voiceover for a new YouTube video, and I was like, "Oh, I could talk about this in the YouTube video, but these feelings are still raw." I
Hmm.
think I'm pretty confident about like what I feel on this topic and what I might want to say about it, but I only started feeling this all like maybe 2 days ago. The feelings are still raw, and I think we both have learned in producing content, making content, the
Yeah.
price that comes with talking about feelings in a podcast or in a YouTube video when they're too new and too raw because they're only at like stage one. And then when you let them like congeal, I keep using the word congeal, that's like
It's the right
fossilize.
word.
I don't know if it's the right word, but there's like two or three or four more stages that they turn into and mature into that you kind of miss out on if you make content on it right away. And I think that's not specific to content. That's like all feelings that affect all relationships and all conversations, but it's just really clear the price you pay. I
Yeah.
think when you put it in content and thousands of people get to respond to it and you get to see the response and it's a week later and you're like, fuck, I don't even really feel
I
that
don't
way
care
anymore, or
about
like
this anymore.
I
Yeah.
feel 10 different things now.
Hmm.
And I think that just like, yeah, it's become really clear um to sit on it, just the
Hmm.
benefit of letting things, what is a better word than congeal? Congeal's really only used to talk about blood. Just letting them
Crystallize.
settle, crystallize. Yes, we got to make our
Yeah.
crystals.
Yeah, we got to make our
Yeah.
crystals. This is now we're woo woo again. Um,
I hate crystals. I found so many crystals. I move into my new place, and there's so many like crystals left out that like
that
the
are yours or
previous
that the people, oh,
no,
I'm
that the
like, what are you
previous
saying?
tenants left in the backyard. There's like just all these like Justin was like, "Oh, I think the last tenant was a crystal collector." And it seems very, very clear. And then I also found him hoarding one of the crystals in the bathroom. And I was like, Justin, what are you doing with
He's
this?
like, I liked this one
He
actually.
said, I thought it was a cool rock.
Yeah, as soon as it's a rock, it's cool, but when it's a crystal, it's woo woo. Like I feel a little, as somebody who has a tasteful amount of crystals.
Whoa, how many is that? What's the tasteful number?
Well, there was a time when I like moved to Chicago, was going through a breakup, like, that era of my life, late
That's the
20s.
crystallizing time.
I got some crystals. Listen, I got some rose
You're
quartz and I
so
rubbed it.
cute.
Okay. Like I
And you
did
rubbed
what I
it.
had to do.
What'd
Just
you rub it
rubbed
on?
it,
Yeah.
nipples, other places,
None,
wherever you're
none your
supposed to rub.
business. None your business. Are you supposed to rub crystals on your body?
No, I think you're supposed to like hold them. So I have a friend who's really into crystals actually, and she is the most unlikely person to be into crystals. She works at a financial institution in cybersecurity. She's like a really intense, like New Yorker. She's not the crystal person. And yet she's gotten really into crystals in her 30s actually, and she's in a healthy marriage and like it's not what you would expect, and that's what makes it great. And she sent me a bunch of crystals for my birthday last year, like a little pack, and they're all different, and they came with a list of like what they all mean or represent, or what they can like unlock in you, I guess. And you're supposed to just hold them. And then you're also supposed to charge them like
What?
in the
Excuse me?
sun, which might be
Excuse
why
me.
there were some in your backyard. You're supposed to like put crystals in the sun to charge them every so
Uh,
often. I don't do any of these things with them, but yeah, this is the
hmm.
extent of my crystal knowledge. I had more to say on that topic, but whatever. I'm here now.
Yeah. All
On
right. We
whatever
covered
we were
it.
talking about
We
before.
learned.
We learned, we grew. It's cool. Dogs. If I haven't made it abundantly clear yet in this episode, I'm burning out. I am at capacity. I am spread thin. I am whatever other idiom there is for the fact that I have no time, no energy, and I just want to be outside frolicking. And like life doesn't want me to do that. I know that you can relate. The one thing that lets me do that a little bit easier, the one part of my life that actually wants me to be free, is HelloFresh. HelloFresh makes it easier to fit quick home cooked meals into my schedule every week. They curate delicious recipes. I'm a big taco or taquito or enchilada orderer anytime that that's an option. It's in my box. And their deliveries are flexible. If you have trips coming up, you can pause or skip whenever you need. HelloFresh wants you to have a great spring, and so do I. Feel great with meals that fit your spring schedule and make the season even more delicious. Go to hellofresh.com/notforeveryone10fm now to get 10 free meals with a free item for life. One per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That was not for everyone, fully spelled out. 10FM.
You have anything dumb to tell me?
Always. My complaint is people who say niche instead of niche for the word
Mm,
Niche. I have
yeah.
no judgment on them. I have literally nothing more to say about them. I just don't like it. That leads me to my ick, which
Okay.
is another pronunciation issue. People who say frustrated.
Who says that? A baby?
People say it.
A baby?
Yes, it is the baby way to say frustrated, but adult people sometimes say it. I was watching some
Frustrated. Frustrated.
frustrated. I was
Oh
watching
no,
some
no,
like
no, no, no,
dumb
no.
dating show and somebody
Oh
an
no.
adult man said it.
No.
He said
Was
it.
he American?
Yes. And he was like
Uh,
supposed to be the hot one on the show too. And I mean, I didn't find him hot to begin with, but I was trying to
frustrated.
lean in and then that happened and it was over.
The only thing I
Frustrated.
could think, I thought you were gonna say was one of like your British dating shows, and it was like maybe I was like
No,
maybe that's a British thing.
no.
Frustrated.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that.
It
That
wasn't the first time I
literally
had heard it.
what?
Yeah.
That makes
Oh
my
my
body feel
gosh.
bad.
You're not encountering as many dumb people as I am, maybe. And then that's something I need to
I
fix.
am. No, I
Are
am.
you? What's
Oh,
happened? Tell me.
you know what? I don't actually don't know. I can't think of any dumb people. It's probably me. I don't think I've. Oh,
If you
here's this.
can't think of dumb people, then
If you
it's
can't think of
you.
them, then it's you. Yeah, I do think it's me. It's usually me. Here's something dumb though.
Okay.
This is important. I think I've decided.
Dumb but important. Okay.
Dumb but important. So, my entire life, I have always slept like, well, I've always thought I needed like 11 hours of sleep. I don't ever get that because no one has that time in the day. But
Sure.
basically, I sleep whatever number of hours. I can never get up. I can never get out of bed. I'm I'm always tired, but but I just whatever, sleep 8 or 9 hours because like who has time for 11? That doesn't even make sense. But that's basically the only way. Like maybe once every 2 months, I'd let my self sleep with no alarm, and I would get up after like 11 hours. And I'm definitely felt like shame and stupid about that. Like, sorry, I sleep so much, and like, I hope people don't think I'm lazy, but I
Yeah.
don't feel lazy. I feel like I'm going on sleep deprivation all the time and living despite it, but definitely always feel like someone's going to judge me for it. All of my siblings are the same. Lots of them do sleep 11 hours. We all need so much sleep. And so it's obviously it was just like, okay, it's some genetic thing, whatever. And then the other day, one of my siblings was like, oh, Caroline, I was prescribed trazodone. Trazodone. It's a prescription sleep aid, also sometimes used for insomnia, sometimes used for depression. And they were prescribed it for whatever reason, not important. And they were like, it made my sleep quality so much better so that
Wow.
now I sleep 8 hours and I just wake up and I'm done. And they were like, I never realized that I was just getting bad quality sleep my whole life. So I wasn't getting the full REM cycle. And that's why I was sleeping so long. And this was my sibling who said this to me, which is why I actually listened to it because I was like, we probably have this
Hmm.
very similar genetics. And so I tried it and trazodone. Let me first say, disclaimer, I am very, very hesitant to talk about prescription medications ever publicly
Yeah.
because it is so unique to the individual. Blah, 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 blah. What works for one person will not work for another person. It is so specific. You have to talk to a doctor. And this discovery actually happened months ago and I haven't talked about it because I was like, I don't want to talk about this until I sit on it for a while. But
Hmm.
this has literally changed my life. It has literally changed my life. It is not habit forming. It's not like Ambien or Xanax or something. It is not habit forming, and you can't get addicted, and it doesn't create a tolerance. With confirm all that with your doctor, but that's what my doctor told me. And I take it, and I, for the first time in my life, am sleeping through the night, and I will wake up in 7 hours without an alarm.
Whoa.
It has literally changed my life. And I mean, in so much as I'm getting probably 3 hours of my day back where I'm otherwise groggy or would be sleeping. And I like can't get over it. I've been talking about it every day to Justin. I probably am so annoying, but it has actually changed my life.
That's incredible.
Isn't that crazy?
I'm very intrigued. Yeah. I have noticed, I just sit over here like observing how people are on my phone. I'm like, oh, they're texting me a little earlier than usual,
Yeah.
or
You seen that? You seen that
oh,
shit?
like I just observe these things about the people who I talk to all the time, and you're one of those people. And I do think I've noticed like she's up earlier or up later
6 a.m.,
or
6 a.m., 7 a.m.
her do not disturb isn't on as often or as late or whatever. Like just things like that. Very interesting. Your
Uh-huh.
your impact, your productivity has shown. Your ability
It's
to be
amazing.
reached is improved,
Thank
which
you.
which is probably a negative side effect. You probably want to change that. But
That's true.
wow.
It
Any
has
doctor?
changed my life. It
Does it
has
have to be
changed my
like a
life. No, I
therapist or
think it's just
PCP or anything?
I think it's your like general practitioner or like your
Yeah.
whatever they're called. Um, I mean, you have to talk to a doctor. It's prescribed, so you have to talk to them and figure out your own situation. And it's not like it just makes you need less sleep, but for me, it seems to be that I had really restless sleep. And so
Hmm.
I might be in bed a long time, but like you don't get the REM cycle, then your body is not restored, blah, 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 blah. Listen, I don't fucking know what it's doing exactly, but
But it's in you.
it's amazing. And it's funny because I think we've talked before about being like morning people, night people,
Yeah.
and I'm not a morning person. Like I'm not grouchy or really slow to get going in the morning. Like I'm delighted. If I'm like 20 minutes out of bed, I'm delighted to be alive and I'm instantly doing stuff, but it is impossible to get me out of bed no
Yeah.
matter how much I slept. And it did make me feel just like kind of a lazy piece of shit, even though I'm a manic, always working, non lazy piece of shit. I'm still a piece of shit though. But yeah, it has changed my life. And because it has changed my life, I am here. There is something
It
out there.
sounds, I think it might sound like
What?
me. Because here's the thing. I I've always said I need a minimum of 9 hours. And lately, my 9 hours has not been feeling
Yeah.
like the nine that I thought was enough. Um, I wake up and I'm groggy for like the first hour of the day. I'm just like in bed waiting for my eyes to feel fully open or something. And it does make me feel lazy. Like I feel bad about it because I already work from home. I'm a very hardworking person who has two jobs and does a lot of work. Like on one hand, I know that about myself. On
And you
the
know
other
what? Even if
hand,
we weren't being a
it wouldn't
hardworking
matter.
person, this isn't
You're right.
Protestant America anymore.
You're
Okay?
so
We
right.
don't need
You're
these
so right.
puritanical values. We don't even have to be hardworking. I don't give a shit.
But it is okay.
But you
That's a
are.
whole other interesting topic because
Yeah.
even if that is true, which it is, I think I still value it, for myself.
Totally.
And
Totally.
so, which I could, yeah, give a whole separate spiel about that we could talk about another time because I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Like the dichotomy of like I want to be untethered from like my work and my output and my productivity is my value, and also what if I just value that? I don't know. Anyway, um yeah, so I work from home, which already makes my day easier. You work from home too. Like I can wake up, my alarm is set at 8 a.m. Most of my friends' alarms are set at 6 or 7 because they go into an office. So that already makes me feel a little bit like a lazy piece of shit. And then at 8, I still can't get out of bed and I'm sitting there for an hour just being like Ryan, get me coffee.
Getting through
And
4 alarms, like I have to set 4 or 5 alarms or I wouldn't get out of bed.
yeah, and I have been wondering like what is this just who I am
It's
now? Like is this
menopause.
is
It's
it premenopause?
perimenopause.
Perimenopause?
No, it
I've
probably
been
isn't.
seeing a lot of information online about like how that starts earlier than you think or
It does
something.
start earlier, but it's not at this age. I mean,
Okay, good.
there's always exceptions, but those people are just trying to get money out of you to buy a new product.
Yeah, they are. It's the
They
ads.
are, Jess, they're getting you again.
They're getting me a fucking again. Yeah, anyway, this is a great innovation that you've just shared with all of us. I'm
Yes.
gonna
And I am
do
sharing
some
it with the
research
largest grain of
and
salt.
ask my doctor.
Yeah. It's part of the reason why like I don't really want to talk about, I don't know, you and I talked about like ADHD medication and stuff, and I think because being raised by medical people, you
Yeah.
just know like it's nothing,
Serious.
everything is serious. There's pros and cons to all of it. Nothing is a quick easy fix. Like remember with it, at the part of the reason I hesitated to talk about this and I wanted to like watch it for a while was because the way I was feeling about trazodone was like, oh my God, it's non-habit forming and it just fixed blah 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 and I don't see any side effects. That's how people used to talk about opiates. They used to be like, "Oh,
Whoa.
it's a non-habit forming, no negative side effect alternative to what was it? What was it? I think it was
Just like
morphine.
pain.
Morphine was what they
Yes.
were doing before, I think. And spoiler, that wasn't true. So I'm not going to sit here and say there's no side effects because that's just not even possible. Everything is cause and effect. Everything is cause and effect. There's
Yeah.
trade-off for everything, which is why I do think you have to talk to a professional. You have to take it seriously. But vetting it for several months now, as well as my sibling for like a long time now, it is seemed worth looking into. Some drugs do something for a reason,
Hmm.
and I just think you shouldn't take any of them lightly. Yeah.
Agree. Agree. I also think, though, it does make me think that of this other like medicine related thing I've been thinking about recently, which is like there's so many different doctors and approaches to medicine and different drugs out there for different purposes and whatever. And as I get older and I have certain like recurring issues, I guess, that I haven't quite solved yet. Like a good example is skin stuff. Like I have dermatology issues that I have been trying to figure out for like my whole adult life, tried many things. They haven't really gotten to like the root cause. And only now at almost 34 years old did a new dermatologist recommend to me to get on Accutane, which I know is very well known and lots of people have been on it. It's a serious, serious drug. So I'm not recommending that everybody and anybody with skin issues get on Accutane. But it was really interesting to me when I finally found this doctor who like heard all of the other things that I've tried and kind of deduced like it's time for you to do this. And no one else has ever mentioned it to me before. And it's almost the
Yeah.
same as like
That is surprising.
maybe with trazodone, if you've been having or your siblings, like in general, if it's been a thing for your family your whole lives that like you've not needed a lot of sleep, you've not gotten good sleep. I don't know. Like
Mm-hmm.
no, but there's it doesn't seem like there's a solution until suddenly there is, until suddenly like one doctor realizes like,
Yeah.
hey, try this thing. It's just so interesting to me how
Yeah.
fickle that is. Like
I know.
it's the line between, and then imagine if it was like much more serious issues. It's the line
Yeah.
between like ending up with a doctor who thinks of that thing and ending up with a doctor who doesn't. Um,
Who thinks
I
of
don't know.
it and like it aligns with their philosophy that they
Exactly.
like to prescribe it or they like to try it. Like it really is,
Yes.
yes, it's like overwhelming and anxiety inducing to think about. I've definitely had that experience with so many different things. Definitely with when I was, struggling with depression, like in my early 20s, and there was so much trial and error. Definitely with like the IBS stuff. Everyone's just
Mm,
fucking throwing darts in the dark.
yeah.
And so many of them just turned into this crazy rabbit hole. And I'm sure the stress of the pursuit of answers probably makes any condition worse. Like name a
Yeah.
condition, it'll make it worse. Um, yeah, it's really crazy. It's really crazy.
Agree. Agree. We end up talking about medicine a lot. Like, I guess just because we're scientists, I don't know. We end up on these topics. It's just the real. It's just what people's lives are made of. Is
Yeah.
what's going on with my health.
Well,
It's
I
important.
guess it's kind of funny to think like this things that is science, and it is science, but is still administered by humans. It's science
Yeah.
administered by flawed humans. And it ends up feeling almost like I think people end up taking a lot more stable trust in their astrologer.
Mm,
Somehow that ends up feeling more reliable
more
sometimes,
grounded.
which like, it's a I it doesn't really resonate for me, but it's not like I'm over here in the world of Western medicine feeling like it's not a fucking crapshoot either. Like it's like, oh, what doctor you get? Like, what's their mood? Like, what do they feel like giving you? Like, can you get an appointment? La 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 la. And so it is hard science, but then it's also just fucking whatever wave you happen to catch that day. Yeah, so it's like I don't know, it's perplexing.
It is weird about our whole world that like just everything relies on human beings. I mean, I don't know. That's like such a weird, such a weird
Yeah, we're
existential
high.
thought.
We're high
We're
now,
high.
yeah. All right, let's
Mm,
see what we have
what
going
else do I
on.
have?
Oh, I was talking to my sister the other day and this blew my mind. She was like, "You know how like when we were in our 20s and it just felt like we had like all the time in the world to do whatever?" And I was like, I literally never felt that way. No. What are you referencing? No, everything was so, always so high pressure. And I felt like I was always behind. And I feel like everybody else in their 20s feels the same way. I like didn't know what she was referencing, but it's something I think maybe that people like to reference when they're older and
Hmm.
they like lie to themselves and they're like, because they, maybe they look back on the issues they had in their 20s and then like with future knowledge they're like yeah I had all the time in the world but I don't think anyone feels that way
In
at the
it, no.
time.
Mm-mm.
No. Okay, I think I just needed validation that she's wrong.
Yeah, it reminds me of in a very, very early episode of the podcast, one of my first, if not my first solo episodes. I referenced being feeling like, you know what, maybe this was even on Peaking, my old podcast. But either way, I referenced being feeling more carefree in my late 20s, early 30s than I had ever felt before. And specifically thinking about like high school and college and early 20s me, like she was so bogged down by the pressures and the what do people think, and oh my god, like every little thing has to be perfect. I have to do perfectly in school, I have to do perfectly with my friends, I have to look perfect, I have to whatever. And I thought that was like a normal thing to say. Like I thought that was like the shared experience that kind of as you get older, maybe you become more carefree, or like
Oh,
it
I guess
doesn't
I,
mean
yeah,
it
I
doesn't
would have
mean you
thought so
don't have,
too.
yeah, it doesn't mean you don't have more. There's like plenty more things that I'm responsible for now, I guess, but I don't sweat the small stuff maybe as much. I don't know. Anyway, I said that in this episode, and a friend of mine who I went to college with and was a very, very carefree seeming person in college, at least, texted me and was like, loved your episode. Like, it was so interesting to me that you were describing your experience this way because I feel like the total opposite. Like, high school, college me was so carefree, and now things are getting more and more stressful. Which, when she said it, I was like, that also makes sense.
Wow, interesting.
But I do think there's like a maybe there's a divide in how certain people view it
Yeah,
for
I'm shocked.
themselves, you know?
Maybe
For me,
if
I
it's
feel
like,
like
yeah.
everything was weighty when I was younger. Everything carried weight and I couldn't let go of things, and I just like overly worried about everything, and I still am a person who
Mm-hmm.
cares about shit, worries about shit, but it's different.
Yeah, that's I'm amazed that
Hmm.
yeah, I guess I just thought everyone like had a hard time in their teens and 20s, but I
That's
guess
what I
if
thought. That's what I
I think about it, it's like the difficulties we're describing are very like social comparison type things like am I doing enough? Am I included enough? Am I keeping up? Do I have enough time? Running out of time, having all the time in the world, whatever. And those
Yeah.
are very like comparing yourself to other people. So I don't some people are enlightened out of that. It's not a lot of them, but I think maybe if somebody isn't feeling that stress, my guess maybe would be that they felt they were succeeding in most of the ways. Like
Mm,
maybe the people who didn't feel stressed in high school, maybe some of them were like, okay, they're doing the comparison, but the calculation outcome of the comparison is that they're on top. So it's chill.
mm,
Or like, on top in college, whatever the fuck that means to them socially, academically, whatever that means. But maybe they feel less on, like they don't come out as far ahead later on in life. Whereas
interesting.
for me, yeah, I definitely never felt like I was keeping up socially or professionally or anything in any way. And I think I feel better about my standing in my life now, but I also just don't do the comparison as much.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, or maybe
I
it's
don't
more,
know.
it's like what issues stress you out. This is like in addition to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like I've never been a person to get overly stressed out about, maybe that's not true. I don't know. I feel like I've always, because I was this is what I think it is. Because growing up and in my teens and 20s, I was the person who was like, my ass was clenched so tight. I was so scared of like not doing
Yeah.
everything right. I feel like that made it so that now, being an adult who has responsibilities and work obligations and owning a home and whatever, like these kind of like tactical, stressful things that we all have to deal with, like that stuff is not that hard to me
It's
because
easy now. You already did the
my
hard
parents
stuff.
raised like a little project manager from the time I was like 13, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
But the thing
yeah.
that was hard for me when I was organized and on top of my shit when I was a kid was like the social and the comparison and the am I cool and am I pretty and am I talented and am I enough?
Am I
And the,
satisfying my parents enough? They were like, it's
yeah.
like maybe it's just if you had parents who were a harsher judge than society can ever be.
Yes,
That's
maybe
it.
that's it.
I
Maybe
would
that's
put
it.
myself in that category. Yeah,
That's our shared upbringing for sure. That's
yeah,
when I feel
yeah.
like we're right on
That's
target with each other.
That's when somebody first told me, a mutual friend of ours, when you and I weren't that close in high school, and I
Mm.
remember a mutual friend of ours being like, "You guys had kind of similar households," and I was like, "Yeah,
Oh yeah,
tell
you
me
told me
more."
that. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's really
Anyway,
funny.
yeah.
That's really funny. I think it's true. And I think it's true. Yeah, I think that might be it. So now it's like the social comparison stuff gets easier, hopefully for everyone as you get older.
Mm-hmm.
but then I've always been
Gosh.
this way. This whatever this way means. I've been
But
this way.
butthole clenched. I was
A
born
little
with the ti with the
clenched.
I was born with the butthole of a diamond.
Ooh, beautiful.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
I think we did it.
I think so too. This was chill. I'm gonna go drink some soda.
Yeah,
Doesn't that sound
for
nice?
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. A soda, like a what kind of soda?
Diet Coke. Diet Coke every
Okay.
time.
Do you
Yeah,
ever do
nothing
root beer
crazy.
float? Do you ever do root beer float?
Oh my gosh, yes, I do.
Oh my gosh, thank you for asking.
I do. We did it. I mean, at this point, it's been a couple months, but it
The
still stands out in
best.
my memory
It's
because
the
it was an
best.
amazing idea to make root beer floats at
Mm-hmm.
home.
Yeah, I maybe want one tonight.
Go do that, honey bunch.
Okay.
Okay.
Good idea to me. All right, I love you a lot.
Love you. TTYL.